Fan Report! Aloha and mahalo! I am Guy the Hawaii Blues fan. Welcome to the show! What a big game yesterday was. What a game Vladimir Tarasenko had. Oh my goodness. There's some things that you watch and you just know you've seen something amazing, and that's what it was yesterday. What he did on the ice, and not only that, he's got 7 goals in the last 3 games, right? And you can't forget Thomas. Thomas is a big part of that. Bushnevich, they had 13 points between them. 13 points. I mean, it was just amazing to see what they were doing. Matty should be joining me in a little bit. Ashley has some personal stuff to take care of, and Lance wasn't feeling good. But you got me for about 30 minutes or so. We'll talk about that. Today, or actually yesterday evening, unfortunately, the news broke that NHL Hall of Famer and New York Islander 4-time Stanley Cup champion Mike Bossy passed away after a relatively short battle with lung cancer. Bossy was the first pure goal scorer, right? I mean, he was the guy that came along after Maurice Rocket Richard, and he just knew how to find the back of the net, right? He was just that guy. He could find the back of the net without even thinking twice about it, man. He was just that good, that solid. He was just that guy, right? And you know, I wrote a little article. I wrote an article for Full Press Hockey about Mike Bossy, and I didn't want to get too sentimental or anything, but I talked about his stats, and his stats were just off the chart. You know, I've said this before, and Matty's probably heard me say it. If Brett Hull would not have been injured, if Brett Hull would have had Adam Oates with him for a longer period of time, he would have broke that goal record. It wouldn't have been, if Bossy doesn't get injured, it wouldn't have been Gretzky's goal record. It would have been Bossy's. You with me there, Matty?
I am. I was just listening to you.
No, I was kind of that was your. Oh, we have some fun. What's your thoughts on Mike Bossy there, bud?
Pioneer of the game, and 4 Stanley Cups, and just a ton of accolades. I posted something on my Instagram earlier about him, and just one of the pioneers for the dynasty in the 80s with the Islanders. And I could only see highlights. I never saw it live, but Bossy was the real deal, and he was a big, important person in that Islanders organization, and just an unbelievable hockey player. And pretty sad how he went. Of course, nobody wants cancer for anybody, so that's all I can really say. Just rest in peace to Mike Bossy.
Yeah, the one thing that I learned was. Here you go. This is for you. Jason Nichols says, I can't get over that beard. I'm never shaving again.
Oh, I love it. See, this is what's good. Marchand and the beard.
Yeah. Yeah. See, now you brought up Marchand, not me.
It was coming eventually.
I didn't realize this, and I learned this in doing the research for the article I wrote today. Bossy and Gretzky didn't get along at all, right?
Really?
Yeah. Apparently, Bossy felt that the Oilers and the Canadiens got a lot more press and attention than the Islanders did. And what the Islanders did was just as spectacular. When they won the cup in '83, beating the Oilers, it was more about how Gretzky lost the cup, not how the Islanders won their fourth straight cup, right? Gretzky did, has made statements where he felt, Bossy was the greatest right wing in the league, and I even said it in the article. He's the right winger that guys aspire to be, right? It's just it's kind of rough, We found out and that's the other thing. We didn't find out that long ago. We did not find out that long ago that we didn't find out that long ago that Bossy had cancer. I mean, it was just back in October, and he was actually pretty active up until that point, right? Excuse me, just give me a moment. Oh man. But so it's kind of it's sad when that happens. Unfortunately, he died at a young 65. But we have his memory, and the guy's a Hall of Famer, and he deserves to be a Hall of Famer.
Absolutely. They said he was the top 100 in the league when the NHL released that. I mean, everybody's entitled to their own 100, but of course he was. And the other thing was, you talk about Gretzky and Bossy, was when they kept winning and Edmonton was starting to get their cup and going after their stuff. Gretzky said himself, like, we saw the Islanders, we were amazed that they won all these cups, but we saw how tired they were. They were unbelievably tired. It's not easy to win that many Stanley Cups in a row. And then Gretzky saw it firsthand because they had to walk by their locker room.
Yeah. Yeah, they were they put it all out on the ice, and Bossy did too. I mean, you think about Bossy's kind of like his career cut short by injuries, and the injuries were because they put it all out on the ice. The time that these guys played, the late 70s, early 80s, even late 60s, early 70s. These guys, they play as hard as they played on the ice. They played off the ice. Right? They gave it their all every day. Hockey players are a different breed, and I've heard, you hear the stories. I've heard stories of baseball players. I've heard stories of the 70s and 60s and 70s baseball players, football players, basketball players, all of that. But when it comes down to the stuff that you hear from the hockey players, the stories and the things that come out, it's amazing. And they all left it on the ice. I mean, they as hard as they were on the ice, that's what they were off the ice, and they left everything on the ice every day, right? They took care of themselves, and they took care of each other. They backed up each other. I've heard stories of things that I can't repeat, and just wow, man, it really impresses me. And to see, Bossy was only the second Islander to have his number retired. All right, now I know they're not a old franchise. I mean, I think they came into the league in the second round of expansion after the '67, but still, they came in. I want to say they came in the league in '72 or '73. Right, I could be a little off on that.
Yeah, a little before their Stanley Cup run. I mean, they were the franchise was about to, I think they were about to fold, and so the owner for the longest time until their little incident with that guy who couldn't even
that was the thing. That's what kept them thinking. You know what? As amazing as that whole story is, I think that incident kept the Islanders from folding. It really did. It brought attention to him. It brought some what do you call it? Gravitas. It really it made them what they were. It helped them more than anything else.
I know his last name was Spano. That was
I remember reading about it. It was definitely a very interesting thing, that went on. It really, really was. That, and we can get into that another time.
Oh yeah.
Right. As we're going along, let's talk about what's going on with tomorrow. Tomorrow is a huge game. The Blues can clinch a playoff spot. I didn't think they could, but apparently they can. If they beat the Wild, tomorrow is now. I look at the game they played against Boston, and I go back and look at the game they played against Buffalo yesterday, and I see a team right now that believes in themselves. Right? I felt they took Boston's not. When you look at Boston, I didn't look at that game as a win. I thought Boston was going to win that game. I really did. I thought Boston needed it more. I thought it meant more to them. It was in home, the whole Marchand thing, all of that. Hockey players are different breeds. So, Matty, what's Marchand's excuse?
Oh, that's a good one, Jason. I think
Right.
he needs he's still waiting on the approval for his nose surgery. So
Yeah, I guess so.
And Florida just beat the crap out of the Jets tonight.
Vladdy had 20 goals and 50 assists last night. Yeah, I seen that. It's going into the second intermission. It's 4-0, or is it in the third period now? 13:44 to go in the third, 5-1. Wow, what a butt whipping! Yeah,
I think Huberdeau's got 2.
Wow, right. The Blues are on an amazing point streak. I think it's 9 games or 10 9 or 10 games. Just playing strong, solid hockey. Florida is scary. They're scary. I agree with that. Let me. Oh man, I'm sorry. My GERD's acting up today, so I'm having it. 9-1-1. So they're on a 10 game point streak. They've won 7 in a row, right? I think it's 7 in a row, 6 or 7 in a row. I have to go back and count. When they face the Wild, they have got to be ready for the Wild. I think the Wild are going to be coming after them. Because Wild just had an overtime win of Dallas. Everyone feels like it's positioning, and I think for the Wild that they're going to want that home ice to get their fans into that early. I know a lot of people say home ice doesn't matter, but I got that feeling that it does in some way. In this series, it might.
Well, you guys are up in the series 2-0
Yes.
during this season, so why not just make it a trifecta?
You know how hard it is to beat a team 3 times in a row?
Yes, I do, guy. Yes, I do.
Right? Very hard to do that. And not only that, so who's the Wild? So the last time we faced the Wild, they put Talbot in net. I'm guessing they'll put Fleury in that. Fleury in the game they beat Dallas, he got an assist in the OT on that. You see that? Great. I mean, it was a great pass. I wish more goalies would do that. I really do. Right? I wish more goalies would pass for that breakout. Right? Yep. Panthers are on fire tonight. They're a scary team. They're a scary team. Tampa Bay is a scary team. I think Toronto can be scary. I know a lot of people aren't sold on Toronto. Toronto's going to be just like the Capitals. They got to get over that hump, that curse of theirs. The Caps have and I can't think of the name, the Penguins, right? They just could not beat the Penguins, couldn't beat the Penguins. They finally beat the Penguins. Next thing you know, they're lifting the cup. The Blues for the longest time could not beat the Blackhawks until 16 when they finally do beat them, right? Beat them in 7, and that got them out of the first round for the first time in like 5 years, right? And 5 straight playoffs they hadn't gotten out of the first round, so that was huge, getting them out of the first round. So sometimes teams just have that little thing that they got to get over, and I think that's what Toronto needs. Do I think Toronto can win a cup this year? No, I don't. But do I think they can make some noise? Yes, I do.
Not at their matchup they're kind of looking at right now. If they play Tampa Bay, the series is, I don't see that series going far. I see Tampa Bay winning that series.
Uh, I see that could easily being a 7-game series. Right?
Oh,
I can see that being a 7-game series. I think that's one of the things that I talked about before. The new system of when they changed the playoff system to this current system, you have heavyweights getting knocked out early. I mean, automatically, right? You're going to have guys, because there's teams that are in that second, third place that are cup contenders that potentially could get knocked out in the very first round and will get knocked out in the first round. I mean, you look at the East, what that first round's going to be. You look at the 8 teams, and you look at, the 4 teams that are getting knocked out of there, you're knocking out contenders. You're knocking out at least 1, if not 2 contenders, legitimate contenders in the first round, right?
well, if you see the Florida playing, so this is just a playoff prediction, right? So you see Washington going against Florida. That is going to be a huge series if that becomes in light. So I don't know. I just, that's where I see Florida needs the real test. You got guys on Washington that have crazy playoff experience, and then you got guys from Florida who just entered the league or very young team. So, I mean, that's stuff like that you got to look into. You look into where we were talking about Boston playing Carolina. I think Boston can beat Carolina, but get knocked out in the first round. And there's so many scenarios, and who knows? Dallas could upset Colorado. Dallas is a team that has a lot of veteran players, and they have the old buddy of mine, Tyler Seguin.
Yeah. Hey, I need to address something real quick, Matty, and I apologize for you. I want to address this comment from Rooster Cogburn, right, about a product that he ordered for me that he never got. That is a true statement. However, there's some things going on with that. I do know that someone has tried to reach out to him a couple of different times to give him his product and offer him more on top of it, and he has not responded to those messages or checked those. I feel really bad. It's my fault that he doesn't have the product. I will do better in the future. I have shut my store down due to different reasons, so my store is gone. But we will I will continue to do what I can to try and get him his product, and we'll go there. But he says he answered the phone call. But I know that the person was trying to get him the product, so I do know that. So I'll just go from there, and he can post what he wants to post. I don't block people, we're trying. I'm not going to give up. I will make it right, plain and simple. End of story. Thank you. Okay, back to the hockey. Sorry about that, bud.
No problem.
Right, you just got to handle it the best you can, right? Excuse me, it's got me thrown off a little bit. What we were talking about? I'm lost.
We were talking about no, we were talking about just different playoff scenarios, and I was talking about how Colorado Dallas series,
Yeah.
that could be either way itself. We were talking about the mighty Colorado Avalanche. I know you're not saying that, but I mean, they play a young team like Dallas who does have playoff experience too, and they got Sagan, they got
they do,
don't they?
Yeah, they got guys that were 2 years ago. They were in the Cup Finals, right?
Yeah, so I mean, there's so much opportunity for different.
They have a cup-winning goalie. They have a cup-winning goalie in Holtby.
Yeah, Holtby. Yeah.
Right. So there's a lot of the playoffs are going to be very, very interesting this year. And a lot of times, a number 1 seed gets knocked out in the first round. Very rare do 2 number 1 seeds meet each other. Very rare do the top 2 teams in each conference meet each other. Right. So the field is open, and it's really going to come down to matchups, and it's going to come down to I think special teams could be a huge factor
Right?
in
Yeah.
this season, right? I've seen some people, I've seen some people talk about the refs swallowing the whistle, and how that's and how the league is starting to address that, right? That telling them that a penalty is a penalty. That doesn't matter if it happens in game one of the season or game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals, right? So you could see more penalties called, and especially in feisty series, in a feisty series, a series like that, I think you could see a lot more happen penalty wise, and it's going to have an effect. And the teams that can score on the power play, teams that can the teams that can stop a power play from scoring, those are the teams that I think are going to have the better chance.
And I have to say, Boston has that skill. They have the skill they have very good penalty killers. Shorthanded, they're okay. They can put the puck in the net in shorthanded. And like you said, special teams, like that's a very important part of the playoff picture. And it's a lot faster pace. I don't know if you agree, Guy, that it's a faster pace compared to regular season, where say you're in the 64th game compared to the final game of the season trying to hunt for a playoff spot.
Yeah, the pace does pick up a little bit. I noticed that. I'm trying to pull up something here real quick. Might take me a moment or two. We'll kind of talk while I'm doing that. I think that what you're going to see in this playoffs is going. I mean, you're seeing the heavyweights. I think I'm just trying to, off the top of my head, to think how many teams that didn't make the playoffs last year made the playoffs last year, don't make the playoffs this year. And right now I can only think of 2.
Montreal.
Right? Montreal and let's see, somebody in the West.
Wasn't the Flyers, right? Did the Flyers make it last year?
No, Flyers didn't make it last year.
Okay.
Montreal is the only one in the East, I think. In the West, you had Minnesota, St. Louis, Vancouver.
Was it Calgary?
Calgary's going to make it. They didn't make it last year, but I'm trying to think who they're pushing out. Who's not making it? The Predators might make it. I actually think that Dallas didn't make it. Did Dallas make it last season or not? No, Dallas made it last season. Didn't they?
I think, no, they.
Yeah, Dallas went to the. No, Dallas didn't. Dallas might have missed the playoffs last year. Yeah. I've got it. I got to go back and look at it, but
right.
But there's not, from last year to this year, the playoffs are actually pretty close. I know the divisions got changed, right? And that's what messes it up a little bit. So you had Toronto, Montreal, Edmonton, and Winnipeg make it in the North. Well, Winnipeg's not making it this year, right? So that's where Calgary comes in. I don't know if Dallas made it last year. I don't
think they did.
You had Nashville, Carolina, Florida, and Tampa. Right? Those were the ones. And all 4 of those are going to make it are going to make it. Right? Wow. So 4, I don't know. Somehow it doesn't seem right that there's, and I guess it's because of the way the divisions were. But basically, almost all the teams that made it last year are going to make it this year. I think Winnipeg and Montreal are the only 2 that are not going to make it.
Was it San Jose?
No, they didn't make it. No, in the West it was St. Louis, Minnesota, Colorado, and Vegas.
Okay.
Right. So yeah, so it's kind of a mess, right? Let's see. I'm still trying to find out what I was looking for earlier. Here we go. I can't really do it. I was gonna pull up a stat, but I'm not worried about it right now.
I know you got Minnesota's important game for you tomorrow.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the Bruins have a huge one against Pittsburgh tomorrow at home. They need to really show their true Bruin style because it's going to look pretty grim if they're going to play like they did against Ottawa and like they did against they play last before that. I can't even remember. But
Who are you talking
anyways,
about? The Blues?
no,
Or
Bruins, who they
Bruins?
lost. They lost to Ottawa the other night, and then they
Yeah,
lost to and then the Blues. Yeah,
yeah. They
they
lost to
lose to
us,
the Blues. Yeah,
right? Yeah. And then, well, they're on what 3-game losing streak?
yeah. They won before St. Louis. They
Oh, okay.
beat they beat what was it? They
No, I
won
thought
3 to I know they won 3-1 at home.
that might have been between games. I think. I don't know.
Oh, maybe,
My
yeah.
my memory right now of all that isn't tracking very good. I look forward. I want to see what St. Louis can do tomorrow. I really do. I want to see if they're focused, if they're good with good strength, and with that ability to not get if Minnesota scores, they score, come back, right? And that's what they proved. That's what they proved in the last one. Minnesota was up 3-1, and the Blues win that 4-3 in overtime. Take this game early. Take the game early, and that's what I really think that the Blues are going to have to do. And you got to get the Marc-Andre Fleury. Get in his head early, right? Get in his head early. And if Tarasenko continues to play the way he's playing, oh my goodness, you could have the battle of Russians there between him and Krill.
Yeah, and
Right?
you got if they play like they did again. We talked about this last night. If they play like they did against Buffalo, should have no problem.
Well, I don't know. I think they got to play they got to clean up. They got to clean up the defense a lot, right?
Yeah.
But if you can score early, if you can get ahead of them, then I think you've got a better chance. But if you get behind them and play like you did last night, you're going to lose that game. The Blues absolutely need to be just dead on. And I've been saying for a while that these two games, the last one last week and this one, were important. They were probably going to decide the division, second and third. Because right now, if the teams are tied, the Blues have regulation wins, right? And they have the tiebreaker. They have the next tiebreaker. So that's the big one there. Guys, just so you know, we're coming up on the 30-minute mark. I normally do an hour, but my stomach is really messed up today. I'm going to cut this one short today. I do appreciate each and every one for showing up and saying hi and talking to us. Matt, thanks for showing up today. Great, really great. Love to have you on. Sorry it wasn't a great show. I apologize, man.
I hope you feel better.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. We'll get
first,
things done.
Friend.
Say again?
Yeah. Your health first, my man.
Yep. So, hey, Matty, thank you. Have a great night. Everyone, this is Guy, the Wild Blues fan. I'll see you early tomorrow morning for the Blue. Well, I think it's 3 o'clock your time. It's like 9 o'clock my time, 9:30 my time. I will see you all tomorrow for Blues versus Wild. Aloha and mahalo. I'm good.